Caitlin Clark's genuine bond with Nelly Korda. How cross-sport friendships shape women's athletics. Caitlin Clark's heartfelt message, more than just congratulations. On Friday, as Nelly Korda, world #2 golfer and two-time major champion, announced her engagement to Casey Gunderson, the sports world paused for celebration. Among the thousands of well-wishers was Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever star who has become one of the most recognizable faces in American sports over the past 2 years. Clark's simple, yet sincere, "Congrats," stood out in a sea of celebrity reactions, including messages from LeBron James and fellow LPGA stars. But there's more beneath this public congratulation than meets the eye. Related articles. Shoipe Cunningham's runway ambitions spark new chapter beyond the WNBA. Caitlin Clark's influence grows despite injury as she bridges basketball and golf. Lexi Hull and the Fever ignite change in the WNBA playoffs. A friendship forged on the course. Clark and Korda's relationship goes beyond casual Instagram exchanges. Their friendship was built through shared experiences on golf courses, notably at Pro-Am tournaments like the LPGA's Onica driven by Gainbridge, where they were paired together as recently as this month. The chemistry between them, easygoing, playfully competitive, and mutually supportive, quickly became a highlight for fans, with viral clips circulating during tournament week. Their camaraderie didn't just entertain, it offered a glimpse into how elite female athletes support one another across disciplines. Korda's respect for Clark is well documented. She has publicly praised Clark's impact on women's sports, noting how the WNBA star's rise has fueled interest across all women's leagues, including the LPGA. Clark reciprocates, frequently referencing Korda as both a role model and a friend. This mutual admiration isn't just for show, it's reflected in their actions and public statements, and it's resonated with fans who crave authenticity in athlete relationships. Cross-sport support, a new era for women's athletics. What makes Clark and Korda's bond remarkable isn't just its genuineness, it's how it symbolizes a broader movement in women's sports. As Clark's celebrity has soared, she's woven herself into the fabric of multiple athletic communities, connecting with stars in football, baseball, tennis, and, of course, golf. These relationships aren't merely networking opportunities, they represent a shift toward collaborative, uplifting narratives that transcend individual leagues. Korda's engagement announcement was more than a personal milestone. It became a moment that united athletes across sports. Photos from the event, like the couple smiling beneath a "In This Life" and the next banner and holding a playful mock newspaper titled "The Engagement," were met with genuine excitement from the sports community. Clark's message nestled among those from high-profile names, reaffirming the interconnectedness of today's athletic landscape. Why this matters? Women athletes leading the way. Historically, cross-sport friendships have been reserved for long-established icons. But Clark, despite being early in her WNBA career, has already earned a place in this orbit. Her ability to connect, support, and celebrate the successes of peers like Korda underscores a cultural shift in how female athletes interact and are perceived. The importance of these bonds can't be understated. They foster a spirit of collaboration rather than competition, helping to raise the profile of women's sports collectively. As Korda steps into a new chapter in her personal life, and as Clark continues to break barriers in professional basketball, their friendship stands as a testament to what can be achieved when women athletes champion each other's journeys. For fans, these stories are more than feel-good moments. They're evidence of the growing momentum behind women's sports. Two generational talents, each at the peak of her field, sharing respect and encouragement, remind us that progress is often driven by unity, not just individual achievement. Clark and Korda's authentic friendship is emblematic of the collaborative spirit reshaping women's athletics in 2025. By openly supporting each other, they set a powerful example for the next generation, proving that genuine connections off the field can drive real change within it. In the wide and often whirlwind world of sports, it's easy to assume that stars stay tucked inside their own competitive lanes, basketball players with basketball players, golfers with golfers, and so on. But every once in a while, you find a connection that dissolves the boundaries between games, arenas, and expectations. One of the most authentic examples of this today is the growing bond between two of the brightest figures in women's athletics, Caitlin Clark and Nelly Korda. On the surface, they couldn't be more different. Clark is the fiery, fearless sharpshooter who electrified college basketball and brought a new era of intensity to the WNBA. Korda is golf's serene powerhouse, playing with an unshakable grace as she rises through historic stretches of dominance. Yet beneath the stylistic contrasts, their friendship tells a larger story, one about the evolution of women's sports, the power of shared visibility, and the magic that happens when athletes lift one another up across disciplines. Their connection didn't begin with headlines or fanfare. It started simply with admiration. Clark, long before stepping into the national spotlight, had watched Korda's discipline and poise from afar. Korda, who knew the pressures of being labeled the next big thing, understood better than most what Clark was carrying on her shoulders. When their paths finally intersected at a charity event, their conversation was almost instant chemistry. Easy, curious, excited. The kind of understanding that doesn't require long explanations. From there, the bond grew naturally. Clark began celebrating Korda's wins, sometimes publicly, sometimes privately in messages that meant a lot more than social media ever could. Korda returned the favor, cheering Caitlin through milestones, slumps, and moments when the world felt too heavy. Their support for one another came from a place of recognition. Though their sports are different, their struggles, pressures, and dreams often rhyme. But what makes their friendship so important isn't just that they get along. It's that they've become symbols of a new culture in women's athletics, one where competition doesn't exclude collaboration and where greatness in one sport can elevate greatness in another. In a way, Clark and Korda are architects of a new sisterhood. Women athletes have long fought not only for wins but for viewership, respect, investment, and narrative space. For decades, they were told, implicitly and explicitly, that women's sports needed to compete with each other for attention. Basketball versus tennis, soccer versus golf, track versus gymnastics. It was a scarcity mindset that kept athletes in silos. But this new generation is rewriting that script. Clark cheering for Korda's victories doesn't dilute her own spotlight, it brightens both. Korda celebrating Clark's record-breaking moments doesn't distract from her own success. It amplifies the baseline of excellence for all women's sports. Together, they demonstrate what cooperation looks like in an arena long built on competition. And fans have noticed. Their exchanges online, playful, heartfelt, supportive, have become tiny sparks of inspiration within vast communities.